Welcome everyone. I would like to wait maybe a couple of minutes while we let people trickle in. But if you're joining us live right now, I want to know where you're coming from. Yes, we're starting just now on the dot, 11 o'clock. I want to welcome you all to goal setting for financial growth in 2025. Thank you for taking the time to join us in diving into our finances to make 2025 a year of financial independence. Right? We all have goals. I have a goal for my business. I have a goal for my career. I have goals for my health and wellness and fitness. But all these goals support our ability to make an income. So it's also important for us to have goals on how we'll protect, distribute, and make more of that income. Welcome for people coming in. Thank you for joining us from Ottawa. Hi. So I'm Camille. I'm a marketing strategist for Horizon Growth. I have my own marketing business. So I am here to learn from Esther just as much as you are going to be learning from her. And so we've got lots of ground to cover. And before I introduce, I want you, people are already sharing where they're coming from Kansas. Hi, welcome. We're from the very cold place of Winnipeg, but thank you for joining us from everywhere. How about the others? Where are you joining us from? I have from Ottawa. We have someone from Kansas. I'm from Winnipeg. Anyone else who wants to share where they're coming from? Okay, maybe a little later. Okay, but anyway, thank you again for being here with us. I would like to introduce, I don't want to take too much of the introduction time, but if there are any questions coming in the middle of the presentation, in the middle of the workshop, I want you to just share it with us. We'll um, put that and answer that at the end of the presentation to have all your questions addressed. I would like now to um, shift gears and welcome our speaker. Esther is the CEO and the founder of Horizon Growth. She's been in the industry for nearly a decade now, and she's always been passionate passionate about giving financial education for families and business owners. And so, without further ado, um, let's welcome to the live stage, sir.
Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. I welcome you to this platform. It's a very good morning, and we are blessed to have all of you. I know some people will be trickling in a little bit later, but I just want to you know, honor everybody's time. First of all, thank you so much for coming. I know it's busy and it's a Saturday. You put your schedules aside at least to sit here and learn and especially plan your financial journey for 2025 because the earlier we do it, the better we achieve results throughout the year. So I won't be wasting much time. We will just go right into it. And I want to help us understand that anything that we will put our mind to it and focus, energy will flow into it. And when the energy flows into something, it's easy to achieve the results you really want. So today we are here to talk about goal setting financial freedom, especially for 2025, and also talk about the financial trends that is happening. There's so much about interest cuts and all that we will discuss here, and I will give you guys examples of how goal setting is done. Okay, so next, please. So, as Camille said, Horizon Growth was founded last year, and the idea behind it was to give people an opportunity to grow, and especially business owners, families, and incorporated people, right? So I have been in this industry for the past 8 years, and I've studied the market trend, and I know what our people really want to listen to, and that's why I'm here to educate us on how we can get there. I do specialize most of the time on wealth creation. I teach businesses on how they can use their plans to actually increase their capital and how they can increase cash flow in their businesses. And that does not mean that individuals do not need to increase their cash flow. So we also do that as well. So I just put up this slide to help us understand what our foundation is all about. Next. Now, when you talk about we are in this industry to service, what exactly do we do? If you look at my screen here, we have everything listed, right from life protection to mutual funds to seg funds to final expense, health, and everything else. So, next slide, please. We'll have more of the services we do. You can see there, if you think about retirement, education, disability, locked in investment, estate planning, retirement loans, lines of credit, mortgage, all those things we can sit down and discuss together one on one on a separate meeting. So I just wanted to give you an overview. Now you're thinking, oh, who is Horizon Growth, right? We have business partners, and it depends with what someone is looking for. So if you look here, we have companies like Manulife, which is over 160 years old. We have Canada Life, over 190 years old. We have IA, we have RBC, we have Sun Life backing us, we have Desijan, and so many other companies. So if your plan fits into any of their strategies, that's why we will be placing you with the whatever recommendation we do. Next. So our strategy, as I said, we talk about debt management. And I'm not talking about debt management in the way people are thinking, because I'm not a debt counselor, right? I'm not saying that people who are debt, they're debt, they want to be debt free, but really it depends scenario, right? You can be in debt by using debt to your advantage, as opposed to you being a slave of a debt. So we want to make sure that we understand that difference. How can you protect yourself properly, right? You need to protect your income. That's the best asset you have. It all begins from there. So you'll hear me talk about that through the goal setting. How do you increase your cash flow and manage your expenses? How do you even plan for emergency, right? So those good times, we actually, emergencies doesn't have to be what people think. You just need to make sure that when life happens, you're ready 3 to 6 months. So we help you start with that. And then how do you accumulate wealth? How do you retain wealth? How do you transition wealth? All those strategies we give. And then more importantly, the estate preservation, how to outpace inflation while reducing taxation, and professional money management. So all those strategies we can discuss with individuals or business owners or families according to your need. Next. So now we are here specifically to talk about goals. And most people talk about goals, new resolutions, and majority of statistics out there say that people who actually think about goals and write them down and read them every day, at least 3 times a day, they are more likely to achieve their results. And that is very true. There's a difference between thinking about achieving something, writing down what you want to achieve, and then planning on how to achieve it is very, very important. And all the 3 steps have to be followed. So, goals are targets you set yourself to achieve certain things with your money specifically. It's very, very crucial, because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. That's very, very important to note. Now, these goals are often tied to life events, especially when it comes to personal objectives. When it comes to living debt free, for example, creating a safety net, buying a car, a home, paying for a wedding, starting a business, scaling your business, traveling, retirement is actually a personal goal that drives you to do that. Someone tells me, I want a job that pays me 100,000. Before you even think about that 100,000, what you need to be asking yourself is, why do you want a job that pays 100,000? What will that 100,000 do in your personal or business life? It's very important to attach an emotional um, thought to what you're thinking, to what you have in mind. Because if you just say, I want to make 100,000, and you don't really know what that 100,000 will do to yourself, then you really don't have a strong why you need to get that goal achieved. So remember, you always have to attach your financial goal to your lifestyle, to your business, to make it effective. Next, please. Now, we have some statistics here that talk about personal finance, and I got these statistics from the government website courtesy. So, this is what they're saying. Only 49% of Canadians believe they are saving enough to reach their financial goals. Can you think about that? That is very, very alarming. So, what happens to 51% of Canadians? What happened to other population? 45% of Canadians lack confidence in the investment knowledge. This is a year when you start with that bang. You want to have this and this and this. But the thing is, do you take some time to educate yourself a little bit about what you're planning to invest in? If you're planning to do mutual funds, take some time to understand what that looks like. What does it mean? What is the risk tolerance? What are you trying to achieve? And how much timeline do you have? It's very important to understand that. So if only 45% people lack that knowledge, how can we help you get there first? 65% of Canadians report that the high cost of living impacts the ability to meet their financial goal. Really? We'll find out that. Because somebody called me yesterday and told me, I got laid off, so I can't pay my $80 disability plan. I said, okay. She went ahead and said, oh, I'm really looking money to pay for the bill. I say, really? So you want to pay someone's bill to make them wealthy, and you're denying yourself an opportunity to create wealth for yourself. So the way you're going to struggle to pay someone else's bill, why can't you put that into a budget and pay yourself too? Very important mindset to have when you begin the year and you want to be financially free. It's important to have this mindset principles already with you at your fingertips. 44% of Canadians recognize they could realize their financial goals through improved financial planning. So why are we not then sitting down to plan? Where is the remaining 56% population? 43% of Canadians are not confident they are able to retire when they initially planned. So what happened along the way? That's why we are here today. 71% of Canadians cite high cost of living and inflation as challenges to accomplishing their financial goals. First step to financial freedom: take full responsibility. The lifestyle you live today is determined by the decision you made many years back. The secret is, if you don't like what you see, change what you do today so that the results you see tomorrow will be what you really want to see. And that's what we will be discussing in the next few slides. Next, please. So now, when it comes to business finance, these are your statistics, right? 16% of employees clearly understand their company's priorities and goals. What efforts are you putting in as an employee to make sure that your team, your crew really understand what you as a company stand for? 50% of top managers can't name their organization's top 3 financial goals. Very, very scary. Make sure that the team you have on board understands what you're doing. They have their own strengths they bring into your company, but can they say in 2 seconds what that company does? It's the responsibility of the owner of the company to help the employees or the partners you work with understand your concept. And on this call, you heard Camille say, we work together. She's my strategist, she's my copywriter, but she really understands what I stand for as a company, because I know if she doesn't understand, even with her expertise, she won't help scale my business. So that's very, very important. 54% of top executives set difficult goals and ambitions, but only 3% of frontline employees do attain them. Are you having productivity in your business? Right? And I talk about this in a different video where I've said these only 4 moves can help business owners scale their businesses, right? And those are things that you can engage yourself into to help you get to where you want to go if you're a business owner. Only 51% of companies attempt to develop aligned goals, and only 6% regularly revisit them. Don't just make a goal to achieve and then you put the book away. Make sure you revisit that goal. 80% of organizations fail to track their business goal because you wrote it down, because everybody's doing the same, and then it doesn't even align with what you believe in or what the company is all about. Only 20% of companies successfully complete around 80% of their strategic goals. Why is it so? Because of planning. And I hope today, when we go through this, you're going to make your goals clear and do what you need to do to help you achieve them by the end of the year. Next. So, what does this mean? These statistics highlight the challenges faced by both individuals and businesses. This is just not in Canada, it's North America, it's actually globally. If you don't plan well, you're actually planning to fail. Right? Let's make sure that we plan today so that we can impact. Remember, when you're a person is planning their finances, then it goes into a business somewhere, then that business will impact the economic status of that country, right? It all starts by individual. Next. So we have 3 types of goal sets. The first strategy is when we think about short term. And that's what I will encourage all of us to look at. Look at where we are. And when I say that, don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't try to be anybody you are not. Don't think that what everybody else is doing is better than what you know. You are the best in your own capability. You are unique in your own ways. So you plan goals that suit only you and you, right? So you don't want to be a duplicate of anybody. You want to be you, right? So start looking at you. For example, I want to have an emergency fund, and I want to make sure that it can take care of me for the next 3 to 6 months if I was to lose my position, for example, or if a life happens and I have to get off work for some time. That is an example of a short-term goal, right? You want to plan a budget. It's an example of a short-term goal. You want to pay down your debt is an example of a short-term goal. You want to travel is an example of a short-term goals. Now, when you look at medium term, we are talking about 1 to 3 years. Some people stretch it to 5 years, and it's okay. When we are looking at that, now you want to plan to buy a car, because a car is also something that will cost you money. Remember, it's a depreciating asset. So as you plan to buy your first car, you need to understand, are you financing it? Are you paying it cash, or you're using other people's money? Because by the end of the day, there's repercussion for either strategy you take. So you need to take time to educate yourself. What is it you're losing or gaining by following what strategy to get that car? What about buying a home, saving for a wedding, and doing home renovations? You can do those planning in 1 to 3 years, right? So that you're not getting yourself into an impulse expenditure because you just want to marry now. It's like you woke up today and say, I want a wedding. And then what? Do you have finances that you can do that? Oh, I want a car, today is my birthday. Then you walk into a dealership, you sign for a car. Do you know what that means to you? Right? So take some time to plan. Write them down first. Think, write them down, and then start strategize. Is this a short term? Is it a medium term? Then a long term is anything above 5 years. You want to pay off your house early. You want to save for your children education. The child is 1 year old. The next 18 years, they will be going for post secondary. You want to be debt free. What does debt free mean to you? Because you just don't say debt free. You don't say you want to plan retirement. You want to retire early and comfortable. What does happy retirement or early retirement or comfortable retirement look in your own minds? Can you draw that vision? Because how I assume my retirement happiness, it's not the same way Camille looks at it, right? It's not the same way Malofo looks at it. It's not the same way Susan looks at it. So we have to really understand, what do I visualize a happy retirement to look like, and how do I want to get there? Very, very important. Next, please. Now, why is it important to set? Because again, if you don't know why you're doing something, there's no motivation of doing it. What is your reward of doing that? Goals help you achieve life milestones and build life you want now, right? And in the future. It also turns words, ideas into action. Remember, I said, first of all, you think, then you document, write on paper, then you plan, then you execute, then you only get results. If you skip any of those, it will just be any other year, right? The process of goal setting helps determine your priorities. Again, when you think about having a car and you actually write it down, and then you have 100 goals, then you start thinking, oh gosh, Esther, which one is more priority than another one, right? You want to retire early, you want a house, you want a debt paid off fast, what is it? So that helps you start prioritizing your strategies as you go along. Now, you have clear goals that may reduce you stress and anxiety. Some people go shopping when they have stress. Somebody told me that. I say, how do you even go shopping? And then by the end of the day, you start crying, I have a credit card. But I was upset. I just went to the mall and I started shopping. Why are you doing that? Right? Because first of all, you didn't write anything. So now you have a credit card approved or a line of credit. The money is sitting there, is doing nothing, and there's big sales in the mall, and you're running everywhere and buying everything. You say, anyway, it's on sale. It's 20%, it's 50%, 70% off. Really? Do you really need that? If you thought about it, wrote it down, then you plan for it, it's easy to execute. It gives you confidence that you can face the future. You're not worried about anything. Because remember, worrying takes away today's joy. And you want to make sure that we plan. So when we are planning, this is the reward you get when you set those goals right from day one. Next, please. Now, how do we set financial goals? While some goals are easy to set, they're not always easy to meet. So, how do you turn an ambition or aim into a tangible, achievable goal? Very, very important. Make sure your goal is important to you. Only you understand why you want it. If you want it so bad, you'll make it happen, right? The more passionate you are about achieving it, the more likely you're going to put that plan in place to do it. Why do I want to travel to Hawaii, for example? Why is it so important to me? If I get why it's important to me, then only I can work towards that. So we always hear about SMART goals. You know, I am talking about financial SMART goals. SMART stands for specific. Make sure your goal is specific. I want to be debt free. By when? Right? You want to make sure you are specifically writing down. I want to pay off credit card, dash credit card. Put the amount. Your credit card is 2,000, 6,000, 10,000, 30,000, whatever it is. Write it down, because writing, I want to pay off my card, doesn't do anything. Measurable. I'll do this by making monthly payments. I'll have them completed by when? So 6,000 is my specific debt plan goal, right? I want it to be zero by this date. Is it 3 months from today? You have to write that day. January 1st or 31st of March. That will drive you to do that. Attainable. Is it realistic that you can actually pay that debt in 3 months or 1 month or 30 days? Right? Make sure you give yourself a much attainable goal. Right? I'm able to do this by paying off $500 a month. Are you able to do that? Right? So make sure that it doesn't really strangle you. You want to do it with joy and not feel like you're starving yourself something. Relevant, right? I want to be debt free to allow me to save and invest towards goals. Remember, I said relevancy is very important. You want to make 100,000 at your place of work. Why do you want 100,000 in your household? Think about it, right? Why do I want to save this money? Because I want to travel. I'm wedding this year. I want to buy this dream car. I want to buy this house. It has to be relevant, time sensitive. For example, I want to pay it off within the next 12 months. It has to be specific, my friends. Don't just write a goal, I want to lose weight. Which weight? I want to lose 2 kgs a week. By when will that be achievable? Because you can't just start the gym and start losing 2 kgs on the first day. That's your goal. But when do you want to achieve that? It has to have a time sensitive timeline attached to it. I hope we understand that part. Again, you wrote your goal, you thought about your goal, you wrote your goal, and those goals are following the SMART planning. Okay, let's go to the next. Now, since we have spoken about goals, let me show you when I sit down with someone how I start listening, how I ask questions that will help me understand what their goals are. Because again, having a financial advisor is good, but having a financial advisor who really understands what you are saying to them is very critical. Because I can't assume you want to be debt free when you're trying to protect your family. I cannot assume you want to travel when you're coming out of debt. I cannot assume you want to save money when you actually are talking about investing money, because those are two different things, right? So, setting up a proper foundation is important. And how do we do this, right? As important as it is to make money, my friends, it's important to learn how money works. I can't emphasize this more. Every family deserves financial education and solution, and no paycheck should be left behind, whether it's for your daughter, your son, your spouse, your grandmother, whatever. No paycheck. So we want to make sure that financial planning happens with every paycheck that comes on the table. How big, how small, doesn't matter. We have to plan today. Next. Now, if you ever desire to be wealthy, remember two most important questions to ask yourself. My friends, what portion of your paycheck is used every single month for wealth creation? That's the first question I ask someone. What portion of your paycheck is being used to make you financially independent? The second question is, would you be wealthy if you start to save today or later? It's not about how much you save. Remember, money needs time to grow. So the earlier you start, the better. Don't wait until you have more, then you start. Remember, if you can do with $1, you will not do with $10, neither will you do with $1 million. So that is a habit. Start teaching your kids as they get jobs, these teenagers who are getting survival jobs or this, they're working jobs here. They get $50. Show them how to plan within that $50. Don't wait until they're now making $2,000 a week or bi-weekly, and then they advance into their profession, they make 5,000. If they didn't know how to plan with that $50, they will not have any habit built to when they get more income. Okay, next. Now, the future will always belong to those who understand how money works. Remember, that's what I said. If you understand the idea, the mindset behind money, money is a money game, it's a game. If you understand that everything that you do is a transaction that goes to someone's business to create somebody's wealth, then you understand who is making that happen. And the most important asset is you, because you start by going to work to even pay that phone bill or car bill with somebody else's business, dream business, because they worked to build their dream business. And you are part of the people who are helping them to achieve that dream. The question is, how do you achieve your own dream? So make sure the next time you have issues with your budget, make sure your paycheck goes to every cut. If you're cutting your budget down, cut down equally. Don't deny yourself wealth because you're trying to make someone wealthy somewhere. And it's okay. Because if you don't understand it, someone else will always be hiring you to do it for them. Today, as we sit on this call, we are educating ourselves how we can be financially independent someday. It doesn't matter whether you're starting today, you have debts. It doesn't matter whether you're starting today, you have no job. It doesn't matter you're starting today, you have money saved somewhere. We are starting from a fresh note because it's a new year with the new things in mind. And the system is changing. The economic trends are changing. So that's why we need to understand how do we fit into that. And I will be talking about that shortly. Next, please. So, hard-earned money is like seed in your hand. Would you turn your seed into a fruit? Let me ask you that question. And Camille, you can help me. People can say in the chat, if you wake up today and put a mango seed in the soil, will you wake up tomorrow and find a very yummy mango tree? Absolutely not. You have to take some time, and the process is the same. It's not any different. So when it comes to money, don't think that you put an investment today and tomorrow, Esther, if it's not 10,000, I don't want it. Anyone who has planted a seed today and grew a fruit tomorrow should put it in the chat. Now, for those who expect beautiful future, please consider starting to save some percentage of your pay. That is net pay. Whether it's 1%, 5%, 10%, or 20%, you start where you are. There's nothing as good as fulfilling. When that paycheck comes, you say, you know what, Camille? I am the one who made it happen. How about I pay myself 10 first? Before I pay my rent, before I pay my show, before I pay my hydro, what did I pay myself? Because if you don't pay yourself, that's why you get frustrated waking up to go to work. Nobody wants to work and they get paid today and tomorrow they are broke. Nobody gets motivated with that. Do you know what the secret is? You need to love yourself so much that if you don't pay yourself, nothing happens. You can actually pay yourself first before you release that money to go to anybody else. That's how important you are. You are the money making machine in your household. If you break down, that bill you are paying will still come, but because you'll be incapable, who will take care of you if you don't plan? Let's be realistic. As we set up goals, let's remember that. Next, please. Now, you don't have to have everything, 100 goals written For financial strategies, we do almost 20 goals. But I tell people, we are going on a long journey together. Let's pick the first three and start from somewhere. Is it protecting your monthly income that is important to you? Is it identify a plan where growth and safety of money comes first? Are you worried about taxation and how inflation is eating into your investments? Are you wanting to pre plan wealth transfer to the next generation? What is it? Because it's different, right? Let's talk about those three. Next. Now, when it comes to growing and saving money, we have thoughts, right? But the reality has to be told, right? For example, you say, I have children, right? The future will be so bright for my kids. If only I start to save early. That's a very good thought. But spending money is a common trend that masses fall. That's a reality. So, how do you achieve that? Growth of money is important to make your future fruitful. But what happens? You don't like money to disappear from your bank account because that's the process of wealth creation. Money has to disappear to come with wealth, right? I deserve to live a quality life at retirement after working for so long. That's a good thought, Esther. But the reality is, you don't like patient and consistent during the process of saving. People say 20 years is too much. Oh, 10 years, I can't do 10 years. The question is, when you sign your mortgage, and they give you 30 years of amortization. Have you ever sat down with that broker and told them, oh, wait a minute, will I be alive after 30 years? Will I really have that job? How come when it comes to money planning, you think about timeline is very, 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 very long? If you're going to pay for your mortgage 30 years or 25 years and you don't protect the income, how are you going to make it happen? I must change my life of my generations to come. That's a very good thought, Esther. But you get influenced with opinions of others every single day. Oh, my neighbor has a very small plan they're paying. Oh, they have this. You are not your neighbor. They're not the same height. They're not the same weight. They're not the same income. They're not having the same lifestyle. So why do you want it to be the same? Remember, I said in financial planning, if you want to achieve your goals, there's no one plan fit to all, my friends. It will never happen. And if somebody is out there telling you, oh, I can be like Camille, oh, Camille's doing, for example, $200, I want that. First of all, Camille has 3 children, I have 4. What is Camille's age? What is her income? And what's her need? Then I look at my need. Is it the same? Why I think I need to copy and paste? That's not good financial planning. Next. So, ready to start investing, having a financial print? Let me give you examples of how you can start thinking. Okay. So, let's go through a few examples here, right? Um, we have 4 benefits that will help you achieve that financial independence because we bring it at your doorstep, right? Thinking about the future, you don't have to worry about it. As long as you've spoken to us, we know exactly what you want. We're going to make a blueprint together that will help you get there. Remember, when you have a GPS, all you need to do is to put in the address. So you have given us the address for your financial future of 2025. All we need is to think and plan together. So we make a plan for you. And if you're learning how to grow and save money, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You need to understand the concept, the education behind it. That will help you make informed decision. I don't make decisions for people. I will educate you. You want to walk away, it's totally fine with me. You want to do something, I'm happy to help you through that journey. Because by the end of the day, my job is not to make decisions for you. My job is to work with you and recommend based on the analysis we both do together, based on what you tell me. Again, when you go to the doctor, don't go and talk about headache when you have, you know very well you have stomachache and every other thing. Tell the doctor everything that is hurting so that they can give you a right diagnosis. So I have set up a few goals here and the questions I ask that will help you understand how we can get it done. So these are some of the goals. You want to save on taxes. We talk about that. Tax season is coming and people are now scrambling. The deadline to fix your mess last year is coming up 1st of March. So you want to talk about that? We can talk about that. You want to save and grow money? We can talk about that. Pay off your house, protecting your family from unforeseen setback. You want to pass the property to the next beneficiaries. We need to talk about that because it's not about my business. It's about when I am not there, how will it roll over to my next generation? Education for your children is important. Retiring early and comfortable. Again, early and comfortable varies, and you need to help me understand what is happiness to you. What is early to you? Give me your time frame. Give me the amount of income, whatever. Pay off debt, protecting your family's income. You want to buy a house. These are the things that I bring on the table and ask you, okay, tell me what is important to you at this particular time, because time changes. Next, please. So, for example, when someone tells me, and I'm going back to goal, that's a specific. So, how do we do it in my space? Okay. So, let's say you tell me, Esther, I want to save on tax. I need to understand what you mean. I can't assume that you mean what I think. You have to tell me. For you to tell me, I have to ask you the right questions. So some of the questions I will be asking you is, how much approximately tax did you pay last year, Camille? So I have an idea what we are talking about. What are you doing right now to save on taxes? Because you are coming to me, you have a solution. But what are you doing yourself before you talk to me? What are you doing? I need to understand so that I can improve on your plan. I'm not here to tell, I'm here to listen, and together we recommend a plan and make a blueprint that will help you. We are having a GPS, we need to put an address in it. So to put an address to help you save on taxes, you need to answer these questions. What is your annual gross income, for example? So once I have this, I can evaluate that and figure out a strategy that I can recommend to you. Again, when I recommend, I don't obligate. You decide yourself whether it makes sense to you or not. Next, please. Paying off house early. I can't assume that Camille wants to pay off the house early. Suppose Camille wants to pay off a house. People say, I want to pay off the house early, and they don't even have the house yet. So it's a very important responsibility to me as an advisor to think about how much is your money value right now, your house market value today. They say, I don't know. I say, it's okay. You just need to do some homework. Check. You can even ask your realtor, if you have to sell your house today, what will it go for? What is the outstanding mortgage, for example? Do you have mortgage insurance? You are paying monthly, yes or no? How much are you willing to set aside on a monthly basis to pay off your mortgage early? Because you cannot tell me you want to pay off your mortgage house early and you're not doing anything. So I have to know you're doing something or you're doing nothing, so that we know when we set up a blueprint, where is it starting? Is it from scratch or is doing something? Very important, my friends. Financial planning is not a one time process. It's a continuous evaluation of the current circumstances. Next, please. I want to pass my property and business to my beneficiary. Okay, great, Esther. Tell me, what is your dominant thinking when you choose this goal? Because I gave you 10 or 15 goals and you chose this one. So why? Tell me why. What is the approximate estate taxes you'll pay in your business? Oh, what is that? Well, that's one of the things that we need to talk about when we think about passing the business to the next generation. Where will the money come from to pay taxes? Very important too, my friends. It's not just running a successful business, it's running a successful, transferable, successful business. It has to be transferable. It has to be sellable. pardon my word, you should be able to sell your business if it's successful, right? You need to plan to do that. Do you have any protection plan to pay taxes? Now, I just want to go back a little bit and recap the statement I said. The business has to be resellable. Most business people, listen and listen very well. We do a lot of claims when it comes to taxes. Yes, it's good. But there's something we call book of business. If you ever want to sell your book of business, remember your net income will play a role into that. So, as much as you write off things in your business, make sure that the next person who wants to buy that business really like you making 20,000 net income in that business. Again, do things intentionally, strategically, and realizing you understand the destiny, why you're doing it. Some strategies don't work for certain things. If you don't show your business is making money, even though it's making money, you can't sell that business to anybody because somebody will need to look at your tax records and they're seeing there's no money. Even though you have gross income, you're showing that is really something that you need to learn today. Next. Protecting your family from unforeseen setback. If this is a goal somebody picks, for example, we want to know if they have any protection, whether it's a life, a disability, or a critical illness. Do you have a mortgage insurance? Because again, you don't want to start planning for a family person or for a business person or for an individual without having this data. Because when you do plan and you leave some data behind, it causes trouble. Because then I'm planning them the protection, yet they have a work protection or they have a plan somewhere else. I didn't ask. So because I didn't ask, this person is either underprotected, overprotected, or they don't have it because I never mentioned it, right? So it's very important to diagnose right need. And that's why I'm talking about setting up your goal. It starts with you. Before you look for a person in the bank, before you look for an advisor, before you go to the gym, before you look for that diet, you need to do your homework, write it down, research. What are you trying to achieve so that you get the exact results to what you want to achieve? Next. Again, this is another example. I don't have to go through this, but you need to understand that these questions I will ask you. If you come to me, you tell me I want to buy a business, I need to know when, how, how much is the business you want to buy, what have you saved for that business, and what is the location, what are the draws, the cons and pros of buying that particular business. Have you spoken to anybody successful in that business? Do you understand what you're getting yourself into? Why? How are you preparing yourself into that? Very important. Before we do a plan, we need to understand that, right? So next, once we know that, then we also ask, because some goals don't really have this. I also need to understand if you have any retirement planning, education planning, tax free. If you told me you want to buy a house and it's your first time house, I need to know if you have a first home saving account and stuff like that. So I need to get those extra data from you before I can recommend anything. Next, please. Before I finish up on this particular, do we have anything in the chat? Somebody has a question, a comment, or anything? Camille?
Not right now, but if you have any questions, the floor is open. Let me just remove this. Okay. If you have any questions, drop them below. We have people coming from Texas. Hi. We have people coming from Winnipeg, from Kansas, from Ottawa. If you have questions about what we just recently discussed, share them
Okay,
below. Otherwise,
we'll go to
we'll
this
continue. Yeah.
final. Yeah, we'll continue and just watch for that. If someone has a comment or something that you want to share, please don't.
Yes, we
Thank you
love
so
it. We
much.
love
Thank you.
it. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Pay
Next.
yourself first. You are not your neighbor. So you should have your a financial plan, a goal set for yourself that's different than people from maybe Instagram or TikTok or stuff like that.
Okay,
So,
let's go next.
okay.
All right. So this is just helping you as an individual, a business owner, or a family uh, provider, or whatever it is, to plan yourself properly. Again, as you've written your goals that are very smart, relevant, time conscious, and you know that I have to dig into that. I have to dig into your goal and understand exactly, so that I'm not doing an investment when you talk about the saving. And I have to understand, as an advice, I need to ask you the right questions so that you can open up for me to plan with you. Again, it's not plan for you, it's plan with you, right? So as you plan to do that, think about this. So go next, please. This is very important, and this doesn't happen just for anybody, it's global. And especially in North America, you need to understand, doing your goals is good, but doing it in a certain manner is very important. Building a foundation. So, for example, if you have a goal to be financially free, the first step you think about is protecting your income, because income is what will buy you a house, is what will save you retirement, is what will grow your money. Anything will come from income. And if you plan to protect your income, you transfer the debt, the disability, and the critical illness to the next party. How you feel about that? I bought a house, and this house is 2 million, for example. I know that if I get disabled, somebody else has to pay my mortgage. Somebody has to pay me every month so I can pay my mortgage. If I get critically ill, again, someone who have had cancer before, stroke before, nobody prays for these things, but they happen anyways. Life will do what it has to do. What we can do is to protect ourselves, is to plan for it. If you can plan to get married and plan to have children, you need to plan to take care of those children as well, right? So we want to make sure that we have critical illness, death, and disability transferred, so that we can do this investment, whether it's buying a house, growing money in your retirement plan. If you're in the US, you have 401k, Roth IRA, right? When you save money in those plans, it's locked, right? Even for Roth IRA, yeah, right, you have to save there for like 59, until you have 59 and a half years for you to take it out. The question is, I have money growing in a basket I can't access. What is happening in that basket? If I don't educate myself on how to read my statements, some of them come with like graphs. I don't know what is happening. I don't know until I turn 59 and a half. When I turn 59 and a half and that bucket went to negative, what time do I have to redo that again, my friends? Right? It all starts with financial education. Now I can call whoever is holding my 401k or my Roth IRA to ask. For Canadians, you have a tax free, you have an unregistered, or you have an RRSP. You get to understand how to read those statements. Make sure you understand what they're saying when they send you a statement. If you don't that's why you need to educate yourself. Don't assume you're growing money when you're losing money. Don't assume that you're saving money when inflation has swept everything you have, right? Now, if you're planning to have a wealth transfer strategy, do you understand about whole life UL, or you have universal index in the US, right? So you want to make sure that you understand the strategy. Is it really working for you? Because it may work for me, but it may not work for you. Again, it's not just doing what everybody's doing, is doing what makes sense to you. And then make sure that you make a will. Make sure that you have everything you've worked hard for taken care of in estate planning, because again, estate transfer is a big issue in North America. We cannot fool ourselves around that. If you don't plan for your estate, I'm telling you, you'll work so hard to build your wealth, but then it will go into probate fee, and that will sweep away the hard work you've put in for many years. Make sure you think about that. Plan for your estate. Plan for your estate. Make your wills ready. Update them. It's very, very important. Okay, let's switch gears now. Next. Okay, so the last thing I was asked is, This one is fine. It's fine. Just let's go. They know the foundation is very important. So the last thing I wanted to just touch a little bit is the interest rate cuts and how it's affecting Canadians and North Americans, especially businesses and everything else. Everybody is worried and confused and wondering what's happening. So I will just take a few things I've taken from the government side. So next slide. So repeated interest rate cuts by central banks can have several long-term implications. Remember, they're doing it now. They started doing it last year, but these things have long-term implications, and it's better for you as an individual or a business owner to educate yourself. What does this imply when it means it comes to your own financial planning? Next. So, what are these long term economic implications? The first thing is economic stimulus, right? Lower interest rates encourage borrowing and spending, right? That is, it encourages people to invest. Yes, it grows the GDP, right? But for an individual who has just gotten a lower cut, they tend to borrow more. And when people borrow more, it can easily lead people to debt. Like it plays both ways. It depends with which angle you're looking at, right? So, for example, if the interest rates are high and you have a line of credit that is high, definitely you won't get into it, right? But when that line of credit is like 2-3%, you start thinking about, oh, maybe I need to take a line of credit. But taking a line of credit without a mindset of what exactly you want to do may lead you to a debt. On the other side, because you're going to spend more, it's growing the economy. So you have to understand what your role is when it comes to this thing. Inflationary measures increase spending, drive demand, and higher demand leads to price rising. Again, it's either way, right? If you have someone getting approved for a mortgage with a less interest, everybody has approval. All of a sudden, everybody's searching for a house. Now, what happens? The houses have not been built within 1 year. So the demand is so high and the supply is too low. And what happened? Bidding begins and people are overpaying for things. Those people who are selling those things that are being overpaid for are happy, but people who are overpaying them, they don't know the implication because you have to stay in that neighborhood for many, many years before the appreciation gets to where you overpaid and then start accruing. Again, that's what it means. But you have to be prepared when you're taking those decisions. That should be part of your financial planning this year because there's so many cars and there's also another one coming soon, right? So asset bubbles. Prolonged low rates may fuel excessive risk taking, real estate markets and stock markets. That's why people are jumping into real estate, right? When the interests were high, the houses were staying on the market too long because very few people are approved. And people are saying, oh, it's high interest rate, I can't take a mortgage now. But then when you look at the time frame, you have to study. There's no best and wrong time to get into real estate. You really have to educate yourself. If you're coming into real estate investment, this is one of the goals. Give yourself that task. I, Esther, have to educate myself about markets because I can't just jump into real estate blindly because this is the repercussion. If you're looking at stock markets, when the stock is on sale, the last 2 weeks I've been watching the investments. They have really gone down. I saw some have gone to minus performance. And I was talking to the client. I said, this is the best time you can invest because guess what? When you buy a share that is below the interest rate, when it goes back to market, you make a lot of money. But some people, when they see the market is dancing and their money is dropping, they run to withdraw the money, right? It's a mindset. Again, you have to educate yourself. When you are educated financially, then you know which decisions to make for yourself. Again, I don't make decisions for you. I educate you. You decide which path to take. Next, please. Now, reduce policy options, low rates limit central banks to, for example, future economic shocks and crisis management. So this has pros and cons. Again, as I said, just make sure you understand. For example, for us who are in Canada, we are feeling the effect because the Canadian dollar is really low right now. If you want to purchase things in the States and you want to travel there, you're going to pay, a little bit more, right? It hurts. So some of these things hurt. So you need to understand when you need to make trips now. You can't choose a trip in a place where your currency is really going to cost you double to vacate there to do that. And that being said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just called proper planning. Plan a trip elsewhere. Plan a trip that is friendly to your budget, right? If you like shopping things there, then you have to reevaluate. You have to watch. You have to see what you're doing, because that card to pay, if you have an American credit card and you have to pay in Canadian dollars, you really feel what I'm talking about. Again, it's something we discuss, but again, you make your own decision. Shifts in market dynamics, search for yield in riskier assets, investment patterns becomes distorted. People are saying, invest in this cryptocurrency, this coin came, this one happened, this happened. People are just on Facebook, invest here, and you're just going well. And there's so many things AI is doing that some things are fake. You just put their information and you lose money like that. So again, being a properly educated financial person, take this year and make yourself a priority. Invest time in you to understand, how can I benefit from what is happening? What can I do for now? What can I postpone for now? And what can I implement in the future? Very, very important. Delayed economic adjustments, this is more of government impact on saving. I like when the investments are very low. I like it myself, because that is when smart people make money. That's when opportunities come, But I'm not saying that for the sake of saying. It has to be fitting with the goals you have. You don't invest in stocks when you're saving for a house in 2 years. You want to make sure you understand what you're doing. For heaven's sake, please, if you know you have a goal that is within the first year or less than 3 years, don't go into risky portfolios, because within 3 years, nobody can guarantee something will have grown into that. That's why I'm saying, speak to your advisor, tell them, I'm saving or I'm investing. Again, it's your homework. Go and find out the difference between that. Also find out the difference between GIC guaranteed investment certificates and mutual funds. For the US people, you find out the difference between CD accounts, and stocks and mutual funds. You're doing trades over there. It's good when you understand. There's nothing wrong with anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying educate yourself on the path you're taking. That's why I thought this presentation will help us have that mindset as a group, as a team, as a family, that at least by December 31st, when we meet, you'll say, you know what, Esther, at least I picked one thing from that and I implemented that. And today is December 31st. I am grateful that I achieved something. And guess what? If your goal was to make 500,000 in passive income and you get to 300,000, what did you lose? Nothing. Unless you pushed yourself. You didn't get to where you wanted to go, but you got yourself to a better place than where you were before. Why? Because you took an initiative to think, you implemented the goal, and you are aggressively doing it. Break your goals into small portions, my friend. Take your annual goal, break it into monthly, then look at it monthly, break it into weekly, look at weekly and see what you can achieve every day. I tell you, nothing is impossible. We can achieve anything together. And nobody is better than another one. If you see any successful entrepreneur out there, at one point they filed bankruptcy. At one point they had that level of education that is elementary. At one level something happened. Some people didn't have water. Some people didn't have electricity. Some people were kicked out from their houses. Why did it change for them? It's a mindset. You have to be sick and tired of something. When you're sick and tired of something, then only you take action. And that's why we are here today talking the last week of January. Tell yourself, I miss January if I didn't do it. But February, I'm giving myself 11 months. I have to get to where I want to go. And you can seek help from any profession you want. If it's health, seek an advice from a health profession. Don't try and ask, for example, a pastor who's supposed to be praying for you, you're asking financial education from that. I'm saying that with respect. Don't try to ask a financial advisor for a marriage counseling thing. Don't try to ask for a financial advisor how to lose weight, because it doesn't make any sense. Look for specialists in the areas where you want to shape yourself. Financial goal is one of the many goals. Hope you'll take the same strategy and put into other aspects of your life, because your family is important, your spiritual is important, your emotion is important, your physical, everything is important. So plan the same way to achieve the same goals as we work together throughout this year. I hope that made sense. Anybody who has a question, I think I'm done. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments?
No questions for now,
Any
but
feedback?
someone asked, will we be able to get this recording to rewatch? It will be in the YouTube channel. We will also send you a link to watch the recording again for you to be able to access it easily. Follow us on our YouTube. We also have Facebook and Instagram if you want to be, if you want to have like, we have shorter content there. We have tips that you can implement in your goals as well. And thank you, really educational, and it's encouraging. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Um,
much, everyone.
yes,
Thank
break
you.
down
Thank
your
you.
goals.
Really, we appreciate all of you. And let's go. Let's go. Whatever your goal is, I'll be more than happy to help anywhere I can help. But there's so many expertise out there. You're not limited. Again, as I said, we all are special in our own way. Nobody is better than anybody. Remember that. And every coin has two sides. So if life is happening for you right now, don't worry, because it's happening on you, right? You may not be achieving the results you want today, but you are becoming that person who you are meant to be to get the results you're meant to achieve. Again, be happy and just do what you have to do. God bless you. We love you, appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming in to support us. Our Q code is right there, and we'll catch up in the next series. God bless you. Bye.